I'm International Living Overseas Editor Jessica Ramesch. So excited to be guest hosting today on ILTV. Welcome to the channel and thank you for tuning in. I am coming to you from the beach town of Coronado in Panama, where I live. And great news, today we are going to be talking about expat life and experiences in Costa Rica. Of course, International Living's Costa Rica event is right around the corner. I'll be there to give a bonus session talk and to lead the singles and networking abroad Q&A there. Also speaking at the event and joining me here on ILTV right now is Costa Rica expat Bekah Bottone. Am I pronouncing that right, Bekah?
Yes,
Welcome.
Bottone, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's so great to have you. And we've already been sharing some experiences and things that Panama and Costa Rica have in common. We have so much to talk about. And you wrote a wonderful feature story for the May issue of International Living magazine. And I'd love to talk a bit more about how you came to Costa Rica and why you chose Tamarindo specifically. So tell me, what was going on in your head that first time you flew down? When was that? And after you left, what was it that made you want to return and live there?
So my first time here in Costa Rica was in 1997, and I was studying at the university. I was an exchange student. So I always wanted to travel abroad, and, I saw this program, and it was an environmental studies program, and that's what my major was. And it was just an awesome field course. And I had the best time. I really just loved the family that I lived with, right? We got along so well. And, even to this day, a couple months ago, the father of the family was messaging me on Facebook and sending me old pictures of us together. And he was like, Bekah, we always have such good memories when we see pictures with you. And I was like, that is so awesome because I have those memories. And it's really nice to hear that you feel the same way, So it was just, I had just such a special dynamic. I fit into a group of local friends that I found. And I really just being able to be part of another culture and to be accepted into another culture. In Costa Rica, you'll hear the phrase pura vida and you'll hear the phrase mai a lot. And mai is kind of like dude, friend, right? They just use that to always call each other. So when people started calling me Mai, I was like, whoa, I'm in. This is cool. I like this, And I remember leaving after that experience in the airport. I was hysterically crying. And I had so many people come up to me and they're like, what's wrong? Are you okay? Do you need help? And I was like, I don't want to leave. And I just knew, that a part of me belonged in Costa Rica. There was no doubt in my mind. I just knew I had to get back. And I came back the following year to study a little more. And then for another month, I made up some independent study and got to spend another month in the country. And then after I graduated, I came back and was here for 2 years. So there was just something that kept on drawing me back to this area. So that was 2000, 2002. I was here living, working in a hotel restaurant, just kind of being a beach bum and learning Spanish. That was my main reason. I was saying I was coming so I could become fluent.
Yeah.
And I actually, in 2002, I returned to the United States with my boyfriend, who was my fiance at the time, who went to the United States on a fiance visa with me. And we ended up living in the States for 8 years. But we came back to Costa Rica, like we always said. So in 2010, we returned to Costa Rica and started our life, here. So just something that raw, I was being pulled.
You were being pulled. And I really identify so much with what you say about being able to be accepted into another culture and that excitement as you become part of that community. I really had a very similar experience here. Now, fast forward, you're a mom. So
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit about having kids in Costa Rica and what's that's been like. And you have twins, so you double trouble.
It was in the beginning.
Do they enjoy life in Costa Rica? Or do they want to go back to the States?
They love going and visiting. They love it, right? But they always are ready to come home. They wanna, they belong. They know their home is in Costa Rica. Um, Activities, there are so many activities here in Tamarindo. This is one reason why it's such a big draw for people. You know, everyone comes to this area. You could be a retiree, or you can be a young family that's going to have their first child, or that already has school age kids. I mean, everyone comes here, and everyone, everyone can thrive. There are so many amenities in this area. It's probably the most built up area, in Guanacaste, in my opinion. And they do jujitsu, they have swim team, they play baseball. We just started a baseball team here, which is it's new for Costa Rica because baseball isn't very popular in Costa Rica in general. But there's a coach who's really into it, and he's really just bringing that love here and creating opportunities within the country. So it's really exciting. It's something new. Um, Horseback riding, surfing. I mean, there are just so many things we can do. It's nice weather all the time. So we always are outside meeting friends. I think what I noticed most about living in the States is it seems, and even friends who have lived here and have gone back have shared this with me. It's harder to just hang out in the States for some reason. Like everyone, you need to plan things more. It's more, just everything's booked in, and here we just kind of message on Facebook. Hey, you want to go to the beach today? Or, hey, it's Friday. Who am I going to see at sunset? So it's just a much more relaxed vibe in that sense. And, on the weekends, we're always hanging out at our friend's pool or at the beach. And it's just kind of normal for us. And I really appreciate that. And I think my children do know how good they have it, even though they don't always act like they do.
Right, right. And that's an important point. Now, you mentioned going to the beach. Of course, you're in a beach town of Tamarindo. Tell me a little bit about your house and how you did that, because you have a really interesting story. You bought some land, built a home, and how close are you to the beach? How big of a role does that play in your life?
I live 4 kilometers from the beach. It's a great location because it's not right in Tamarindo. It's the town that's right outside of it, but we have a back road that's just a quick access, even when there's a lot of traffic. So very convenient.
Right.
It takes me like 6 minutes to get to the beach. And our house, we bought a property and we built the house in this community. So I love having a community. I never thought I wanted to live in like a gated community. Just in the States, it just was never really my thing. But here, I feel safe here, right? I am now living with my children and alone in the house. I got divorced from when I was married, and I feel safe. It's just there's having that safety and being able to be alone. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing more important than that. So I'm really just thankful for my house. It's an experience building in Costa Rica because things don't always go what they say on paper. I've had a friend that built a house and it ended up like, I don't remember the exact amounts, but like significantly bigger, which means it's significantly more expensive. And it was kind of like, oh, we need more money. Well, why? And then they decided they saw, so building in Costa Rica, you need to be on top of it. You need to be part of the process, in my opinion. You can't just say, okay, here's the money, I'll come see my house. It's important. My ex was excellent. He worked with the crew. He worked with the team. He made sure when things looked like they were off to get them fixed. So having someone like that, I think someone that you can trust, kind of a liaison for you, I think is a really good business for people to start in Costa Rica that have that experience, and also an important investment when you're looking to build a house, because you need someone on your side or you need to be there a lot.
One or the other, right? Can you give us an idea of costs? What size or type of house did you build, and the land? And is this something that a lot of the expats you meet have done, or is it sort of not the usual?
So there's a big boom right now. So expats, it's interesting. Here it's very transient. So a lot of people come for a year or two and then leave. But there are some people who think they're going to be here for a year or two. And then 5 or 6 years later, they're still here and then they're starting to build, So it's there's something for everyone, You can just decide if this is the right place and then you never end up leaving. Right now, there's a lot of building going on. I probably have like 4 or 5 friends I know that are building. I built about 10 years ago, so it's been a while. I got really lucky. We bought a property for like $22,000. My sister-in-law worked in a bank, and there was something going on with this community, and she knew it was like a good deal. They were trying to, before the bank took it over, to kind of sell lots. So we got in, and we just had a super opportunity with that. And when we built, I would say we probably built for about $110,000.
Wow.
We have 220 square meters of property. Our house is a little smaller than that, but we don't have a lot of yard, so it's not so much smaller than that. And we have 3 bedrooms. We have my little office here. We have a little outdoor patio area. But it's really nice because we're the end. So the pool is right next to us for the community. So it's kind of like we have all that space too. So we don't feel squished at all. So we just got a really good deal, and it was, a great opportunity for us to build at that time. Nowadays, those deals don't really exist. It's harder to find. It's more expensive, especially these last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, so like there might not be something in Tamarindo, but there's, 30 minutes or out in the outskirts where we are in Santa Rosa, there's opportunities. There's new communities going up. So you can still find things. You just have to be a little more creative, and probably won't be with that ocean view, right?
All right, Bekah. Well, your house does sound amazing. And tell me a little bit more just about your social life there and your, support network. What does that look like? And was it easy to meet people that you could find that support from and friendship from?
I have just a wonderful group of women that I know I can count on when I need them. I have some that are super close to me that, they'll pick my kids up when I had no car for 2 months, and they'll grab them and bring them to swimming, and emotionally are there to help me through, hard times, through my divorce and everything. I just had so much love and support in the community. It was really beautiful. And we all hang out a lot together, like I said, it's easy to hang out. Every Friday we go to Sunset, that's our thing. Sometimes there's tons of people there, sometimes there's not, but there's always our core group, right? That's something we prioritize. So I think moving abroad, I think we often leave our families, which is hard, right? But I knew I couldn't live like up in Connecticut in the United States. That was never my vibe. That's never where I felt good. I always wanted to be on the beach. That was just who I was. When I went to the university, my mom always said that I wasn't happy until I found palm trees on campus, right? So that was just always something that was a part of me. And it's hard being away from family, especially, when things are hard, so, a family friend passed away and, I can't go home for that. That's difficult. But, we also get to choose who we spend our times with, and our friends do become part of our family. And we spend the holidays together when we don't fly home, and we have that community. I'm part of Tamarindo Church, which is also a beautiful community and is really, I started going when my children were young, and a lot of my girlfriends I met there because they were there with their young children too. So that has always been a special community for us too.
Always great. If you're part of any activities group or faith-based group in the States, always great to look for that when you land somewhere new, and then you have this ready-made community that you can start to insert yourself into.
Right. They're there with open arms, welcoming all these new people. We've had a lot of new members recently.
Tamarindo just sounds wonderful, though. Sunsets on the beach sound amazing. I just want to pause for a moment, though, and ask you about the parts of Costa Rica that you feel right now are really attracting expats and why? Can you mention just a few of those?
Nosara and Samara are down like about 2.5 hours from us, more or less. So it's not really that far, but the roads just aren't that great getting there. And that has been booming and really growing lately. With young families also. It's a lot more, maybe a little more holistic, a little more like yoga and natural and healthy vibe down there. Like a lot of more maybe retreat centers and things like that, I would say. I have some friends that are even up in Playa del Coco. Now there's no waves there, but that's like an hour north of us. And it seems like a lot of people are moving to that area. And it seems to be a big area for retirees, especially. In 2 weeks, I'm going to Arenal. So I'm super excited because I'm going to bring back all this awesome information to share at the conference. So make sure everyone tunes in to hear about my Arenal talk, because soon I'll have lots of information. And to be honest, it seems like that is such a big growing community these days. And the weather is just perfect there. I was just daydreaming yesterday, actually, about buying a property by the lake. So maybe I'll be able to get something in the future in that area of Costa Rica.
Yeah, that trip that I saw your plans for that trip, it's looking amazing. Definitely very excited to hear about that when I see you in Costa Rica for the International Living event. And you know that wherever you go in Costa Rica, you and I were talking a little bit earlier off camera about the people, just Costa Rican people. And wherever you go in Costa Rica, you have these people that are just so polite and so friendly.
I mean, the Ticos are just the kindest, warmest people culture that there is. You know, they're always helpful. They always want to help. Sometimes it gets frustrating for people. They're always a yes, 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 even if they can't do things. So there's some frustration sometimes in that sense. But that's like where their heart is. They don't want to say no. So it's, you have to see it as the beautiful thing that it is. Right. Everyone complains a lot about the paperwork of getting everything done. Like literally, you could go and they can give you a list and you can go and bring everything on the list. And then they're going to say, this is missing. Right. So that is frustrating at times, but you just have to accept and say, OK, now I have to go get this. And the kinder we are, the more helpful they're going to be. If we get, how did you say this? I don't need this. Then they're not going to be very nice. But I have had people give me their cell phone numbers, their emails. I can contact them for extra help if I have questions. So it's all about your energy. What you give out is what you're going to get back in, right? So really just being aware of that. And when there are those trying situations, to remember to, they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And
absolutely. It's a great thing to keep in mind anywhere in Latin America or Europe or wherever as well. Don't want to come in screaming and being loud.
Right. And, like people are late sometimes, and that's what it is. And really being able to accept and be flexible is going to save us a lot of, problems in the future, I think.
Absolutely. And I've noticed over time, it has made me a more flexible, laid back, easygoing person. So I've got less stress. I've got less back pain and neck pain. Seriously, I make the allowances that I've learned to make for other people, and I make those for myself too.
And really investing in some Spanish classes is really important too, I think. There are some wonderful women in our community that give Spanish classes, and a lot of my friends take it with them. And it's really a great way to meet people too. So you're giving yourself some instant friends when you do take part in a class. So I definitely suggest that. You don't need to, the basics can help you a lot in this world, right? In Costa Rica, right? So it's not like you need to worry about being able to have deep conversations about everything if you don't speak any Spanish right now. But it's possible. No matter your age, you can always learn something new. And, coming down here and having that activity is so good for your brain that it's going to make you younger,
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. And before we wrap up, Bekah, you had a few tips that we were talking about. So let's play a little game here where I get a few rapid fire tips from you. First, let's start with favorite beach.
I love Puerto Viejo. It's close to Playa Conchal, and it's just this beautiful little bay that has no waves, and it's always so calm and crystal clear, the water. That's my favorite.
All right. And then you had a tip for saving money.
All right. So when you're traveling places, if you get your residency and everything, you get discounts, right? So call the hotel and say, hey, I'm a resident. What's the price? Tours are the same thing, right? So you can, and it's often significant. So it's definitely worth asking.
Definitely a great tip there. And then you had a little safety tip for people as well, definitely women, but I think for anybody, something good to keep in mind.
Yeah, right. I mean, no matter where we are in the world, we need to be aware of our surroundings, right? We need to be alert. And especially if we're women alone, right? That's like high alert. So just knowing what you're doing, don't leave your things around. Even when you're going into the ocean, don't bring your valuables. It's hard sometimes. I always find like some vacations and tourists that I see, if I'm going to go in the water and I have some of my things and I put my bag, I'm like, hey, just go in the water. I'm going to put this right here. Is that all right? And just have someone else keep an eye on it. And being out at night, drinks, I mean, you really don't want to leave anything out. You don't want to, if you're uncomfortable with what's happening. I have a lot of friends that like to dance and go out at night, and they always make friends with the locals, so they have someone watching them that they know is always out. They make friends with the bartenders. They talk to them. They give them a tip in the beginning so they remember them. So you have someone kind of on your side when you're out and about.
Great tips, Bekah. And definitely, we talk all the time about all the wonders and the benefits of living abroad, but we don't want to leave our brains at the door when we walk in. We want to just keep those same wits about us that we do at home, back home.
Right.
Yeah. Well, listen, I am so glad you were able to join me today. I cannot wait to see you in person in Costa Rica.
Super excited. I'm so excited for the conference this year.
Thank you. Well, and to our ILTV audience, thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you at International Living's Fast Track Costa Rica Conference this June 23rd to 25th. For more information, click on the link below. If Costa Rica is on your short list, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Until we meet again, bye.
Bye-bye. I can't wait to answer all your questions.
And there you have it, another episode of ILTV. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below, turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos, and join me for next week's episode.